welcome to Xbox On.
So obviously back at E3, original Xbox Back Compat got announced, which got us thinking about all the awesome games that are going to be coming to our Xbox Ones very soon.
So we thought we'd take a look at some of our personal favourites that we'd love to see again. Let's take a look.
Ubisoft's excellent Prince of Persia reboot was a game of two halves. On one half was the acrobatic combat against hordes of supernatural beasts. You had to block, counter, evade, vault over enemies' heads, and slash away with your scimitar. The other half was incredibly tight platforming sections. It started simply jumping over spiked pits and swinging on poles, but it soon layered up all your moves into long strings requiring memorization. In a delightfully evil touch, rooms would open with the camera taking a trip around all the traps designed to mash you into the paste of Persia. Weaving through gauntlets in one swift move felt magnificent. For instance, swing on the rope, run across the wall, duck under the spinning blade of woe, and don't die. Of course, if you did, Prince of Persia had a different way of playing it off. Basically, the entire game was framed as an anecdote told by the prince. So when he did die, you hear his voice go, "Wait, it didn't happen like that," and time rewinds. The two halves blended together perfectly, and no section lasted longer than it needed to. Two great sequels followed, though both saw the prince lose some of his dreamy Arabian Nights magic for something darker and meaner. Sands of Time is the adventure I want to revisit. Rewinding time is one option, but Back Compat would be so much easier.
In my opinion, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory is the best Splinter Cell Wait, hang on, just give me a moment to get this guy. Sorry, I just really like that stealth kill, but as I was saying, this is the peak of the series. Back before top secret US assassin Sam Fisher could tag and execute multiple targets and leap around environments like a rubber-suited panther, it's just nice to go back to a time when shooting out a light and doing a roly-poly down the hall was the height of espionage. This is tense, focused stealth. You can shoot sticky cameras, cut through cloth, hang on pipes to do inverted neck breaks, and pierce fuel tanks to turn off lights. But if you go loud, expect to die quickly. Also, it's got Michael Ironside saying amazing stuff like,
Who are you? I'm already tired of that question. Why don't you just answer mine?
Can you not get behind a voice like that? It sounds like he gargles with gravel every morning. It's just amazing. In this 2005 third outing, Fisher was tasked with defusing a war brewing between China and Japan, mainly by tiptoeing around and choking people. Weird how no guards ever bring up that they can in fact see Sam's glowing green suit lights in the dark though. Maybe they just don't want to ruin the fun for him. It just makes total sense.
Man, this one takes me back. Bam wants you to knock 30 tourists in the water. Then a professor wants you to get his car back from some robbers. Who are you to refuse? What Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 lacks in sense, it makes up for in sheer craziness. Sure, we'll collect your floating letters, Mr. Tramp. It's the least we can do. For me, this was the pinnacle of the Birdman's skating series. Gone was the time limit. Now you could go at your own pace and pick whatever mission you wanted to do in stages set in San Francisco, and even the prison island of Alcatraz. It introduced flatland tricks too, like this cool pogo move, and you could link together everything using the revert technique, which resulted in massive combos. I could have easily got 1 million for the purpose of this video, but I prefer falling over on my face multiple times. It's just more fun, you know? This obviously isn't a realistic skateboarding game, but we don't love Tony Hawk's 4 for the authenticity. We love it because this is a game in which you have to grind a concrete ball to loosen it so it rolls down a dock and smashes into a shark. Sorry, shark. This was a less shark-friendly time, and a special nod to its very early noughties rap rock soundtrack. NWA, System of a Down, Run DMC, The Offspring, Public Enemy, AC/DC, and the Sex Pistols were all brilliantly vintage bands to shred to. If only to let me recapture some of my misspent youth, I'd love to see this back on Xbox One.
With Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption 2 on its way, how about finding out where it all began in the studio's first Wild West game? All the games take place in the same universe and contain story links, so we're sure to dig up some cool plot points. And come on, when is the Wild West ever not cool? 6 shooters, horses, Deadeye, and spitting in the street. Wonderful. No, don't actually spit on the street, kids. It was cool then, it's not cool now. It's a very different game to Redemption. The only open world section is the small town you explore between missions, and you can't even pull your gun to cause trouble. Instead, it shows you the life of a cowboy as a series of self-contained chapters. Each one is a miniature cowboy adventure, whether you're taking out bandits in a tiny town, having a slow-motion showdown against a wannabe train robber, or trying to save another train by running along the rooftop. Oh, and you also get to shoot a load of clowns in the face. That has to be worth a bonus point. But as different as it is, it's built on the same principles as Redemption, a rich thematic setting, well-written characters, and an engaging story. Oh, and clown murder.
Great multiplayer games are great forever. That's why Super Monkey Ball Deluxe holds a special space in my heart. The mini-games were a riot. Take bowling, where you had to launch your bald monkey down the lane and smash pins out of the way. Or the addictive Target, which was about gliding through the air and touching down on a target and seeing how close you could get to the bullseye. If you're more of a lone wolf, there's still mazes to do. Here you've got to guide a monkey in a ball through a series of increasingly fiendish challenges. I think the complexity of the mazes is to help distract you from the bigger question: who the hell is putting all these monkeys inside balls? Anyway, it starts simple, like in the one you see here, with a calming slope and soothing waterfall in the back. Look at that, rolling along and getting bananas. What could be better? But the more gates you get through, the more stressful everything becomes. There are thin ledges and perilous drops into awful, awful oblivion. It demands a calm nerve, Stephen Hawking-esque mastery of physics, and an intimate, almost sensual bond with your monkey of choice. Personally, I like Gone Gone. I like Gone Gone almost too much. Yeah, maybe it's better if I didn't come back after all.
In this arcade street racer, dangerous driving filled your meter and let you go fast, so you could drive even more dangerously and fill your meter even more. It was a perpetual motion machine of carnage. Objects in the mirror were closer than they appeared, especially when your mirror was torn off and rapidly flying towards your face. Cars were made to crash in this game. Brush up against a hatchback and it would crumple up like a Coke can before flipping over multiple times. Look at that. Mate, I barely touched you. Jeez. That's a write-off. This entire game is an insurance company's worst nightmare. One of my favorite things was the crash junctions. Here you had to charge into a busy intersection with the aim of doing as much damage as possible. Time slowed and you could move your car after the initial crash, and after a few seconds you could blow it up to wreck even more vehicles. No wonder there were no official car manufacturers in this game. The head of Ferrari would have had a fit if he saw his lovely cars being made to look like they all contained bombs, which of course they don't. The spirit of Burnout 3's Crash Junction lives on in Danger Zone, which just hit Xbox One, but we wouldn't say no to Xbox's original dash for destruction.
Psychonauts is widely regarded as one of the funniest games of all time. It's made by industry legend Tim Schafer and his studio Double Fine. He's the man behind The Secret of Monkey Island, Grim Fandango, and Broken Age, to name a few. You just know a game is going to be good when it starts with you walking around the outside of a giant brain. To start, we're just going to head into one of these doors. If you couldn't tell already, this game is all about weird mental goings-on. Basically, your character Raz is psychic. Now, Raz wants to become a psychonaut, which is a spy with psychic abilities, so he runs away to join a camp full of similarly gifted kids. Missions in the game take place in other people's minds. You have to help them overcome traumatic events in their past to gain their help and progress. It's just so inventive. Here I'm choosing a nickname to hang on my bed, and this little guy just exploded some squirrels with his mind. Our first lesson in camp is basic braining. You know, like basic training, but brainier. The visuals may have aged, but the writing is still as sharp as ever. I just want to run around camp talking with everyone and seeing what weird, hilarious stuff they have to say, and how many squirrels they can explode. Just like real life summer camp. Ugh, maybe I need help. I definitely need Psychonauts back on Xbox One.
Panzer Dragoon Orta is a more obscure pick. To many gamers today, it's most familiar as a track in Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed with all the dragons in it. It's an on-the-rails shooter where you steer a death-spewing dragon down winding corridors and canyons. Enemies swarm at you from 360 degrees as you quickly spin the camera to paint targets on them and unleash your homing missiles. If you've ever played Rez or Child of Eden, you'll be familiar with the controls. It's all about taking out platoons of soldiers in one graceful sweep of an analog stick. Oh, and try not to crunch your dragon's face into giant rocks on the way. Even after 15 years, Orta holds up well. Getting through the level is one thing, but doing it with grace, style, and a tasty high score is quite another. And even if it isn't displayed in razor-sharp 4K, there's still some hugely impressive monster designs, like these giant water worms that fill the whole screen with their bodies. Panzer Dragoon actually has a spiritual successor on Xbox One in the form of Crimson Dragon. Many people who made Orta worked on it, but that doesn't mean we don't want to take to the skies again in this Xbox classic.
At the time it first came out, Fahrenheit, or Indigo Prophecy if you're American, set new standards in video game storytelling. It begins in a cafe bathroom where your character has an out-of-body experience and murders someone. Then he snaps out of it and suddenly discovers he's got blood on his hands and a body on the floor. This would look pretty bad if anyone walked in right now, clearly, so you have to mop the blood up, stash the body in a cubicle, and try and find out why people all around New York are becoming possessed and going on similar killing sprees. On my first go, we didn't get out there in time and the cop catches us red-handed. In fairness, we forgot about the fairly obvious blood trail leading to the body. In my second attempt, I completely forgot to wash the blood off of my hands and the waitress freaked out. The third time was the charm. I cleaned the blood, hid the knife, and even left a tip before walking calmly out. Okay, sprinted out. I love how every one of these outcomes is accounted for by the game. It really feels like you're shaping the story. What's cool is Fahrenheit is told from multiple perspectives. See how those two detectives visit the scene later and the game remembers exactly how you left it. It's more of an interactive movie, really. The story drove the action. Like, if the game was a car, the engine was the story. And it ran not on petrol, but narrative. And words came out the tailpipe when you went along. Is that analogy working yet? Yeah, anyway, I'd love to play it again on Xbox One.
On to Morrowind now, and one of my favourite series in Xbox history. Years before we were yelling at dragons in Skyrim, we were stepping off a boat into Morrowind. It's now 2 generations old, sure, but the scope is still mightily impressive. You're running around a massive open world, fighting fantasy monsters, exploring dungeons, joining factions, influencing people with your powers of speech, and stealing kitchenware. Do you really need pockets full of plates? Who knows? Maybe the baddies are allergic to ceramics. But like in later Elder Scrolls games, you can play as an Argonian, Breton, Dark Elf, High Elf, Nord, and more. I always pick a Khajiit because it looks like a cat. Why would you not want to play as a 6-foot cat wizard? Like, come on. Let's give it a ponytail in the face of a tiger. I am so fierce. And characters still have names that I can't pronounce, just like Elder Scrolls games today. This man's sarcophagus gives you questions, and depending on what you answer, it decides your class. I'm a warrior, I always knew it. Let me use my warrior ways to intimidate you. Oh, he told me to get lost. Will do. Look at this world though, you can pick up anything not nailed down, like wine bottles and knives and bread. It's amazing how closely it sticks to the Elder Scrolls formula. A bit like a low-res Skyrim, but with a totally unique and evocative world that is like nowhere else, even today. Just look at that thing. Give me this and my mullet head cat warrior on Xbox One, and I'll love you forever.
Not to sound like some aging retro head shaking their fist at kids from the front porch, but games aren't as tough as they used to be. Ninja Gaiden, or its re-release Ninja Gaiden Black, would provide the perfect old school challenge. It's absolutely brutal. Imagine a game with the fairness and precision of Dark Souls, but set on triple speed. It's no coincidence your character Ryu Hayabusa is a ninja in this game. You honestly need ninja-like reflexes to beat it. This man is so nimble he could run on water. Scratch that, he could run on water whilst doing a Sudoku puzzle. He's that damn fast. Ryu was questing to find his stolen sword and to avenge the deaths of his clanmates. To do so, he has to kill a lot of things. Mercenaries, demons, the skeleton of a massive dragon. He's not really fussed. Ryu had a lot of ways to do so though, like throwing shurikens, firing arrows, and unleashing his signature pile driver move, the Izuna drop. He could also conjure ice and fire and lightning, but come on, nothing's cooler than a pile driver. It's amazing how slick Ninja Gaiden is. You do acclimatize to it though, and when you do, you start to feel like a stabby superhuman swordsman. The thumbs of 2017 have grown lazy and need a bit of a wake-up call. Bringing this to back compat would do exactly that.
Could there be any doubt for Halo 2's inclusion on this list? Halo 2 is incredible. It has everything that you want from a game. Dual-wielding weapons, jacking people from their vehicles, firing fuel rod cannons at scarabs, and listening to the amazing voice of Keith David.
Hierarchs. Surely you understand that once the parasite attacked.
Okay, so a remaster of Bungie's 2004 sci-fi shooter is already available for Xbox One in the excellent Master Chief Collection. But Halo 2 is the only Halo not to be a standalone backwards compatible title. So, because I'm a completionist, and also because I'm too lazy to fetch my original Xbox from the loft, I want the final piece of the Halo puzzle on Xbox One. The campaign is amazing. The first level tasks you with repelling the Covenant invasion of your ship, and just look at our mastery of the noob combo. And remember these buggers? No, I'm not being rude, that's what they were called. And the second level is even better, seeing you battling the Covenant on the streets of Old Mombasa. There's even voice work from random celebrities like David Cross and Michelle Rodriguez.
Hey, it's not a garden hose.
But it was the online component that was truly revolutionary. From the satisfying shooting to the creative maps to the finely balanced weapons. It got the Xbox Live service off to a flying start, and as Bungie reinvent the massively multiplayer first-person shooter with Destiny, we want to experience where it all began. Right then, Warthog War and Coagulation, who's with me?
So there we have it, just some of our favourite original Xbox games that we'd love to see come to the Xbox Back Compat programme. Do make sure to let us know your favourites down in the comments below and which ones you'd love to see. And if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos.
And make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.